The sky changed. People in every country looked up and froze. A giant black spaceship, bigger than a mountain, was floating above Earth. It made no sound. It did not attack. But it was terrifying. News channels across the world showed the same image. Unknown object above Earth. Governments on high alert. In space, inside the ship, a tall creature stood still. Her skin was silver blue. Her eyes were sharp like knives. Her voice was cold, like ice. She was Commander Syra. She had no mercy, no heart, no friends. She was trained from childhood to destroy. Syra looked down at Earth and gave her first order. Send the message. Seconds later, every screen on the planet turned black. Then words appeared. This planet now belongs to the Koran Empire. You have 48 hours to surrender. People screamed. Planes rushed to the skies. Armies prepared for war. But the ship stayed silent. It did not fire. It only watched. Far away, in a quiet forest, a man named Eli Ward lived alone. He didn't watch the news. He didn't care about the world anymore. Eli was a former soldier. He had seen war. He had lost too much. Now he only spoke to trees, to silence, and sometimes to his old dog, Max. That night, something crashed near his cabin. A strange, silver object hit the ground with a loud thud. Eli grabbed his flashlight and walked into the woods. He found it. A small alien drone, like a metal eye with legs. It was damaged. Eli slowly picked it up. Suddenly, it lit up. A red light blinked. A voice spoke from it. Cold, robotic, female, human. You are not a soldier. Why are you not afraid? Eli stepped back. What the hell? You are alone. Why? He didn't know who was speaking. But for some reason, he replied, because people I cared about are gone. There was silence. Then the voice said, softer this time. Explain. Cared about. Eli frowned. You don't know what that means. I do not. Teach me. Inside the mothership, Commander Syra sat on her throne, her eyes fixed on the screen. She had chosen to watch this one human. There was something strange about him. He didn't panic. He didn't cry. He was calm, honest. And when he spoke of pain, Syra felt something new. Something she didn't understand. Her second in command, General Keor, walked in. Commander, Earth's defenses are rising. We should destroy one city to send a message. Syra shook her head. No. Wait. Keor looked confused. Syra had never waited before. She always attacked first. This is not like you, Commander. She stood and walked past him. Leave me. Back in the forest, Eli brought the drone inside. He placed it on the table, like it was a lost bird. He talked to it. It's crazy, talking to a machine. But I guess I've talked to worse things in my life. The drone blinked again. Why did you fight in war, Eli Ward? Eli paused. To protect. To do the right thing. And now I just want peace. Syra closed her eyes. Peace. It was a word she had heard before, but it never made sense. She had burned planets, crushed cities. She was a monster made for war. But this human, this quiet man, spoke with no fear. She whispered to herself, why does he not fear me? The first sound she ever remembered was screaming. Not her own. Others. In training halls of fire and metal, young alien children were taught only one lesson. Kill first. Think later. Commander Syra was the best of them all. Strongest. Coldest. Her heart never beat faster. Her hand never shook. Until now. Now she was watching a human on a broken world, and she didn't understand him. Eli fixed the drone with a screwdriver and some duct tape. He didn't know why. He just felt like it wasn't trying to hurt him. He had worked on machines in the army, but this one was different. Smooth metal, perfect design. Alien, yes, but not evil. He placed the drone on the table. Its red eye blinked once. Then again. Then it spoke. "You were a soldier." Eli nodded. "Yeah, long time ago." "Did you enjoy killing?" The question hit like a punch. He looked at the drone, shocked. "No, I hated it. But you did it." Eli took a deep breath. "Sometimes, you have to protect the people you care about, even if it means hurting others." There was silence. Then the drone asked, almost like a child, "Is that what makes you good?" Eli leaned back in his chair. "I don't know. Maybe that's what makes me human." Far above, Syra sat in her command chamber, alone in the dark. The other commanders had left. Even General Kaur had grown tired of her strange silence. She sat watching Eli through the drone's eye. His words echoed in her mind. "Protect the people you care about." She had never cared about anyone. Not truly. Orders, victories, control. That was all she knew. She touched her wrist. An old scar ran across it. A memory hidden deep. When she was young, she once let a child enemy go. She was punished for it. Her punishment, watching that child's planet burn. "Caring makes you weak," her teachers had said. But now, Eli made her question everything. It was raining in the forest. Eli sat on his porch, watching the water fall through the trees. Max, his old dog, rested by his side. The drone hovered beside him, silent. Then softly, "You speak to the sky." "Why?" Eli smiled. "I guess I talk to people who aren't here anymore." "Are they dead?" He nodded. "Yeah." "Does speaking to them bring them back?" "No," Eli said, wiping a tear. "But it keeps them close." "That is strange." He chuckled. "Yeah, well, humans are strange." Back on the mothership, alarms started to blink. General Kaur entered Syra's chamber. "You've been silent for too long. The humans are preparing for war. They are moving missiles, bombers. Even children are being evacuated." Syra didn't move. Kaur's eyes narrowed. "Why haven't we attacked?" Syra replied slowly, "Because I want to understand them." Kaur's voice turned sharp. "Understand. We are warriors, not poets." He stepped closer. "You are forgetting who you are." She turned her head. Her eyes, cold and calm, met his. "I know exactly who I am," she said, "but I no longer know why I am." Night fell again. Eli lit a small fire near the cabin. He poured tea into 2 cups. One for him, one for the drone. He laughed at himself. "You're not even alive, but you're the best conversation I have had in years." The drone blinked. "I am being watched." Eli looked up. "By who?" "My commander, Syra." Eli paused. "Is she the one who wants to destroy Earth?" "Yes." He sipped his tea. "Well, tell her this. She has good taste in humans." There was a long pause. Then, for the first time, a voice came not from the drone, but from above. A whisper in the wind. Clear, calm, powerful. "I chose you for a reason, Eli Ward." He stood. "Who's there?" "I have seen your memories, your pain, your strength. You do not fear me." Eli looked into the trees, into the night. "You're her, aren't you?" "Yes. I am Syra, commander of the Koran fleet, slayer of 12 worlds." Eli clenched his fists. "Then why are you watching me instead of killing me?" "Because you confuse me." Silence. Then she said something no one expected to come from the mouth of a killer. "Teach me how to be human." The first time Syra felt something like fear, it wasn't in battle. It was during silence. The silence after Eli said, "You're not a monster. You just don't know another way." Those words stayed inside her like a sharp needle, stuck in a place she didn't know she had. She had destroyed planets, killed thousands, watched worlds burn. But one human, one quiet, broken man, had made her hesitate. General Kaur stood in the ship's war room, his sharp eyes watching the earth below. He did not understand what was happening to his commander. For days, she had ignored attack plans, refused invasion orders, and disconnected from the command council. This was not the Syra he knew. And so, he did what warriors do when their leader shows weakness. He began to plot. He called a meeting of the high officers in secret. His voice was low and cold. She speaks with a human, one man, a soldier. I have traced the signal. The others stared. She is breaking protocol. She is learning. Weakness. One officer asked, "What do you plan to do?" Kaur answered with a smile, "We kill the human. Then Syra will remember who she is." Back on Earth, in the forest, Eli woke up early. He had strange dreams again. Of stars, of fire, of Syra standing alone on a burning world. He didn't know how she had shown him those visions, maybe through the drone, maybe through something else. But each night, he saw more of her past. And slowly, he began to understand her. She wasn't born evil. She was made into something cold. She had never been hugged, never been told you matter. She had been raised in metal halls with one rule: if you feel, you die. Syra stood in her private chamber, away from all eyes. The walls shimmered like stars. She closed her eyes and connected again, to Eli's drone, to his voice, to the only place in the galaxy that felt real. Eli was talking to his dog, Max. "You think she's really out there, boy? Some alien commander watching us like a sci-fi movie." Max barked once. Eli laughed. "Yeah, I think so too." Syra smiled. It was the first time her face made that shape. She liked his voice. It made the cold inside her chest feel warm. But just as she was about to speak again, a red alert flashed. Her private signal had been hacked. Someone was watching her conversation. Her blood froze. General Kaur stood before the High Command. A video played behind him. A recording of Syra speaking softly to Eli. "I feel something I do not understand. Is this guilt?" Gasps echoed in the room. "She is infected," Kaur said. "The human has poisoned her mind." He raised his arm. "We act now. A small squad. Silent and fast. We find this Eli Ward. And we end this before she forgets what it means to lead." That night, the forest was quiet. Too quiet. Eli sat by the fire. The drone hovered nearby, silent but awake. He stared at the flames, thinking about everything. The alien ship, the messages, the voice that had changed from a monster's to something almost human. Suddenly, Max growled. Eli stood up. "Who's there?" Branches snapped. Then, shadows. 3 tall, dark-armored alien soldiers stepped out from the trees. Their eyes glowed red, weapons pointed at Eli. Max barked and lunged. One soldier raised a weapon. A shot fired. Max cried out. "No!" Eli screamed. He ran to his dog. Max was still alive, but bleeding. The soldiers moved closer. But then, a scream tore through the air. Not from Eli. From above. A dark shape dropped from the sky, crashing into the ground between Eli and the soldiers. It was her. Syra. Not a voice. Not a drone. Syra herself. Armor shining. Eyes burning. Hair like dark fire. She didn't wait. She moved like lightning. One soldier flew backward, hitting a tree with a crack. Another tried to run, but Syra's blade was already at his throat. Only one was left, shaking. She walked toward him, slow and deadly. "You dared touch what is mine," she growled. The soldier dropped his weapon. "Forgive me, Commander. We only followed General Kaur's orders." Her eyes narrowed. "Tell him this. The next time he sends someone to kill Eli Ward, I will not stop at words." The soldier vanished in a blink of light, teleported back to the ship. Syra turned to Eli. He was on the ground, holding Max, blood on his hands. Their eyes met. "You came," Eli said softly. Syra knelt beside him. "I do not understand why, but I could not let you die." Eli looked at her, this creature of war, now kneeling beside an injured dog and a broken man. "Maybe," he said, "you're not a monster after all." She reached out, unsure how to touch the dog, but wanting to try. "I was made to kill. But for the first time, I want to protect." There is no word for home in the Korean language. No warm house, no family hugs, no small joys like firelight, laughter, or the smell of fresh tea. For Commander Syra, home had always been made of steel and silence. But now, she was beginning to wonder. What if home was not a place, but a person? The forest was quiet again. The alien soldiers were gone. Max, Eli's dog, was alive, wounded but healing, and Syra, the commander of a ruthless space fleet, stood in the middle of it all, unsure of what to do. She had come to Earth, in secret, in a stolen stealth pod. For the first time in her life, she had broken her own rules, not to win a war, but to save one man. Syra watched as Eli made a small fire. He didn't ask questions. He didn't demand answers. He just handed her a cup of tea. "Here," he said. "It's not much, but it's warm." She looked at the cup. Her fingers trembled. "In my world," she said softly, "warmth is a weakness." Eli smiled gently. "Maybe in your world, but not here." They sat beside the fire for a long time. Eli didn't speak much. He knew when silence said more than words. Max lay quietly with a blanket over him, breathing slowly. Syra looked up at the sky. The stars above her ship blinked like quiet eyes, watching her from afar. "I have never been this close to nature," she said. Eli sipped his tea. "Yeah. What are you usually close to?" "Explosions, commands, silence." He looked at her face. She wasn't wearing her full helmet anymore, just the light armor around her neck and arms. Without the mask, she looked tired. Not weak, but worn, like a weapon that had been used too many times. Syra turned her gaze toward him. "Why do you not hate me?" Eli took a breath. "Maybe I should, but I've seen monsters, and you're not one." She tilted her head. "I've destroyed 12 worlds." "And yet," Eli replied, "you spared one man and his dog." On the mothership above Earth, chaos was growing. General Kaur paced in the war room. "Where is she?" he shouted. No one answered. Syra had erased her trail, disconnected all signals. She had vanished from the ship. Kaur knew where she had gone, but he didn't want to believe it. "She has gone to the surface," he muttered. To him, he slammed his fist into the table. "Then she truly is lost." Back in the forest, Eli showed Syra his small garden. It wasn't much, a few tomatoes, some herbs, but he was proud of it. She bent down, touching the soil. "You grow food, with your hands." Eli chuckled. "Yeah, takes time, but it's worth it." She looked at the dirt on her fingers. "In my world, food is created by machines. No one touches the ground." Eli handed her a tiny green tomato. "Try it." Syra stared at it like it was a weapon. "It will not poison me." He laughed. "Only if you're allergic to vegetables." She took a bite. Her eyes widened slightly. "It has flavor." Eli smiled. "Welcome to Earth." Night fell. Inside the cabin, Syra sat on the floor, looking through Eli's old photo album. Pictures of a younger Eli, a woman beside him, a child on his shoulders. She touched the image gently. "Who are they?" "My wife," Eli said quietly. "And our daughter." "Where are they now?" "Gone," he whispered. "A long time ago." She looked at him. Her voice dropped lower than he had ever heard. "I am sorry." Eli nodded. Thank you. And then he asked her something no one else ever had. Who did you lose? She froze. No one had ever asked her that. I do not know their names. Only faces, shadows, other children in the training halls. Some died. Others turned against me. We were not allowed to care. Eli said nothing. He just listened. And that silence made her feel something new. Safe. Suddenly, a warning flashed inside Syra's armor. A hidden beacon. A kill signal. She had been tracked. General Kerr had activated her recall protocol. Her time on Earth was running out. She stood up fast. I must go. Eli looked up. What? Why? They found me. Kerr won't allow this. Connection. Eli stepped closer. Will I see you again? Syra hesitated. I do not know. She reached out, almost touching his hand, but stopped herself. If I die, remember this, Eli Ward. You were the first being in the galaxy who did not look at me with fear. And then, she was gone. A burst of light, a shimmer in the air, and the space where she stood was empty. Far above, on the mothership, Syra returned to find her throne gone. Kerr sat in it. You abandoned your post, he said. You sided with a human. Syra stood tall. I chose to learn. Something you will never do. Kerr sneered. You are no longer fit to lead. Then try and take it. Their eyes locked. Around them, soldiers began to whisper. Some loyal to Syra, some to Kerr. A war was coming. But this time, it wouldn't be between Earth and the Kyoran. It would be a battle for what kind of leader Syra would become. In space, silence is not peaceful. It is dangerous. Silence means a ship is hiding. Silence means weapons are ready. Silence means betrayal is near. And aboard the Kyoran mothership, there was now too much silence. Commander Syra stood in the war chamber, surrounded by her officers. She was no longer sitting on the throne. That seat was now occupied by General Kerr, her second in command, her rival, and now her enemy. You left your post, Kerr said coldly. You broke every law of our empire. You showed weakness. You touched the earth. Syra said nothing. Do you deny it? Still, she was silent, but her eyes burned. Not with rage, but with clarity. She finally saw Kerr for what he was, a shadow made of metal and rules. No feeling, no growth, just war. She stepped forward. I do not deny it, she said. I accept it. Gasps echoed in the room. Kerr leaned back. Then this is treason. Syra's voice remained calm. No, this is evolution. Far below on Earth, Eli looked up at the sky. He had not seen Syra since the night she vanished in a flash of blue light. Max, still recovering, rested on the porch beside him. Eli had repaired the drone again, not to use it, but to remember. It was her voice, her presence, that gave him something to hold on to. He spoke to the drone like it was a friend. I hope you're okay up there, he said softly. You saved me. Maybe. I need to return the favor. Back in orbit, Kerr moved fast. He sent encrypted messages to the outer fleets. He claimed Syra was corrupted, emotionally compromised by human weakness. He told commanders that she had betrayed their mission, their code, their blood. And some believed him, but others hesitated. They had seen the change in Syra. They had felt the shift. And they wondered, what if she had found something stronger than fear? Syra walked through the hallways of the mothership. The walls felt colder now, watching her, judging her. Some soldiers saluted her. Some looked away. She wasn't their monster anymore. She was becoming something human. She returned to her private chamber. The lights flickered as security systems disconnected. Kerr was already cutting her off. She didn't care. She had one mission now. She opened a secret channel, the one only Eli knew. Eli Ward, are you there? A pause. Then his voice. "Syra, I thought you were." "I don't have much time," she said. "Kaor has taken control. He plans to destroy Earth, not as a victory, but as a message." Eli's heart pounded. "Can't you stop him?" "Not alone." Kaor stood before the fleet in the battle hall. Screens showed Earth. Red lines circled major cities. Targets. "We strike in 6 hours," he declared. "Commander Syra has failed. We will not." Applause rose. Soldiers cheered. But not all of them. A quiet officer named Varen, young, smart, and once loyal to Syra, slipped away. He opened a hidden console and sent a message. Just 3 words. "She still fights." In her chamber, Syra suited up. Her armor shimmered, not black like before, but silver. The color of light, of change. She had chosen a new symbol on her shoulder, not the Empire's flag, but a shape Eli once drew for her, a simple circle and a line. Human plus alien equals unity. She called her remaining allies. "If you believe in something more than war, meet me in Dock Bay 7. Only a few answered, but they were enough. A rebel crew. Small, outnumbered, but ready. On Earth, Eli moved quickly. He gathered old tools, radio equipment, and his military maps. He had a plan. He would try to reach the orbital uplink station, a long-forgotten base hidden in the mountains. It had been used years ago for space contact. If he could power it, he might help Syra fight back. Max followed him, limping but loyal. "Let's go, buddy," Eli said. "We're not done yet." Hours later, the stars burned above Earth. Kaor's ships moved into position. Missiles armed. Targets locked. "Ready the countdown," Kaor ordered. But then, alarms rang. Unauthorized launch detected. A sleek fighter blasted out of Dock Bay 7. Syra. Behind her, 5 ships followed, the last of her loyal soldiers. Kaor's voice roared across the fleet. "Stop her. She is a traitor." Syra's voice echoed back. "I am not your traitor. I am their protector." The battle began. In the skies above Earth, fire danced. Syra dodged blasts, outflew pursuers, and disabled warheads before they reached the planet. She didn't shoot to kill. She shot to defend. Her ship took damage. Warning lights screamed. But she kept flying. One thought drove her. Protect the people you care about. At the same time, Eli reached the uplink station. It was dusty, broken, but still alive. He powered the main system. Antennas turned toward the stars. He connected to Syra's signal. "You've got a friend on the ground," he said. "Sending you satellite control codes now." Syra smiled inside her helmet. "You're a soldier again, Eli." He replied, "Only for you." The tide began to turn. With Earth's old satellites under Syra's control, she hacked Kaor's targeting systems. His missiles turned and deactivated. His plan collapsed. His soldiers hesitated. And then, one by one, they turned away from him. Syra's voice rang across the fleet. "You can choose fear, or you can choose something more." Kaor stood alone in the war chamber. Syra entered, weapon in hand. But she didn't fire. "It ends now," she said. "No more death." Kaor screamed and charged. But Syra moved faster, not to kill, but to disarm. She knocked him down. "You lost, Kaor, because you only knew how to destroy." He glared. "And what do you know?" She looked toward Earth through the glass. "I know how to feel. Memories are not just pictures. They are wounds." Syra had many of them. Some were from battles. Some were from punishments. But the worst ones were silent. The kind that never bled, but never healed. And now, inside a cold prison chamber, she was trapped inside her own memories, again and again. General Kaor had lost the battle, but not the war. Before the fleet surrendered, he activated one final weapon. The mind cage. It was a cruel machine. It didn't break bones. It broke the mind. It made the prisoner relive their worst memories on a loop until they begged for death. And now Syra was inside it. Her eyes stayed open, but she saw something else. A burning hall. Screaming children, her hand holding a blade. Blood. Then darkness. Then it started again. You failed the test, Syra. No emotions. No kindness. No names. Weakness means death. Over and over, the same voices, the same pain. On Earth, Eli felt it. Not through machines, not through screens, but deep inside, like someone he cared about had stopped breathing. He didn't wait. He packed a small bag, grabbed the drone, and took Max. He knew Syra was in danger, and he would not lose her. Eli made contact with Varen, the young officer still loyal to Syra. Varen's voice came through a weak signal. Kaor has her. Mind cage protocol. No one survives more than 48 hours. Eli's jaw tightened. Then I'm coming up. That's suicide. I'm not asking. Varen paused. I'll unlock a stealth path. You'll have one shot. One ship. After that, you're on your own. Eli flew into orbit in a stolen shuttle, black as the void. He had no weapons, just his knowledge of Syra's ship, and one secret code she had once whispered to him when he asked how to open her private channel. If I fall, she had said, use this, it leads to me. He repeated it now. Code Alpha 7. Syra 1. Heartfire. The ship's defense grid paused, then allowed him through. Inside the mothership, everything was darker. The lights were dimmed. The halls were empty. The fleet had scattered. Kaor had gone too far, and many officers had abandoned ship. But a few remained, loyal to fear. Eli moved silently, hiding in shadows. He used the drone to map his way. Finally, he reached the mind cage room. There, behind glass walls, he saw her. Syra. But she didn't look like the commander he knew. Her armor was cracked. Her face was pale. Her eyes blank. She was trapped in a chair, surrounded by floating wires and glowing machines. Her body didn't move, but her lips were whispering something. He moved closer. No, not Eli. Please, don't die. Eli's heart broke. Suddenly, a voice behind him. You made it far, human. Eli spun. Kaor stood in the doorway, burned, limping, but alive, a weapon in his hand. You think love makes her strong? No, it made her weak. Eli stared him down. No, it made her alive. Kaor laughed. You will both die here. He raised his weapon. Eli moved fast, not away, but forward. He grabbed a metal rod from the wall and charged. Kaor fired. The shot hit Eli in the side, burning hot. But Eli didn't stop. He slammed into Kaor, knocking the weapon away. They fought, one fueled by rage, the other by love. Kaor was stronger. Eli was smarter. He used the room itself, wires, walls, tools, until finally, Kaor slipped. Eli slammed the rod against the control panel, smashing the mind cage console. Sparks flew. The machine died. Syra gasped. Her eyes opened wide. She looked around, confused, breathing fast. Where? Hey, Eli said, crawling to her side, bleeding. She turned her head. Eli, you came. He smiled. Told you I wasn't done yet. She pulled away the last wires, her strength returning. You broke the mind cage, she whispered. Eli coughed. Yeah, not bad for a human. Syra stood, her body shaking. She looked at Kaor, unconscious on the floor. I will not kill him, she said. That is not who I am anymore. She turned to Eli. You saved me. Again. He shook his head. No, you saved yourself. I just reminded you how. They limped together out of the chamber. The few soldiers still on board didn't fight them. They only watched. Because Syra didn't look like a traitor. She looked like a leader. Back in the shuttle, Eli collapsed in the seat. Syra piloted them away from the mothership. He looked at her face. Scared, tired, strong. "What now?" he asked. She looked toward Earth, glowing in the distance. "Now, I return your world to you. And maybe I stay." Once she destroyed worlds to be heard. Now she would speak, and hope someone would listen. Syra had never felt fear like this. Not during war. Not during battles. But now, standing between two worlds, one she came from, and one she had learned to love, she felt truly vulnerable. Because this time, the fight wasn't about victory. It was about hope. Eli lay on the medical bed inside the shuttle. He had lost a lot of blood from the fight with Kara, and his breathing was slow. But his eyes stayed on Syra. She flew the ship with calm hands. But her heart, the heart she once thought didn't exist, beat fast with worry. "You should have let me go," Eli whispered. She shook her head. "You never let me go. I returned the favor." He smiled weakly. "I always said you weren't a monster." "You were wrong," she said. "I was a monster, but you reminded me what else I could be." The shuttle entered Earth's orbit, but things had changed. On the planet's surface, every country was in panic. The Kuran fleet's earlier threat had left scars. Cities had started evacuation plans. Governments prepared for the worst. Now Earth's satellites showed a ship approaching fast. "Is it an attack?" one general asked. "Should we launch?" another said. But someone recognized the ship's signal. "Wait, this is not Kara's ship. This is hers." Syra opened the comlink. Her face appeared across every major screen on Earth, from presidents' war rooms to children's classrooms. She didn't wear her old armor. She didn't speak with power. She spoke with truth. "This is Commander Syra of the Kuran. I was born to conquer. I was trained to kill. And I have done both. But now, I come not as a ruler. I come as someone who has learned." She paused, then looked directly at the camera. "You taught me. One of your own showed me what your people are made of. Pain, love, memory, kindness. Eli Ward, a man with nothing, gave me everything." Tears formed in her eyes, something no Kuran had ever shown publicly. "I ask for no throne. I ask for no control. I ask for peace." In the cabin, Eli struggled to sit up. "You're doing good," he said. Syra glanced back. "Rest. I just never thought I'd fall for someone who used to blow up planets," he joked. She smirked. "And I never thought I'd fall for someone who talks to dogs." Back on the mothership, Kara had regained consciousness. But his army was gone. The war was over, not because Syra had destroyed him, but because she hadn't. And that act of mercy had shaken the Empire. A new signal came from one of the outer fleet commanders. "We have heard Syra's words. We believe in change. We stand down." One by one, the fleet powered down their weapons. Earth held its breath. In a secure room, world leaders watched Syra's face on the screen. They whispered, argued, feared. But then, Eli's voice came through, weak but clear. "She saved your world. She didn't have to. She could have taken it, but she didn't." He coughed, but kept going. "Give her a chance. She gave us one." There was silence. And then, Earth responded. One by one, world leaders opened communication with Syra. "Stand down alert. Delay missile launch. Prepare for contact, not combat." Hours later, Syra landed on Earth, not as an invader, but as a guest. She was met not by soldiers with guns, but by scientists, diplomats, and people holding signs that said, "We LCOME SYR. Thank you for choosing peace. We be live in Cition and chances." Syra stepped out of the shuttle, armor removed, dressed simply. Behind her, Eli walked slowly with support, weaker but alive. And when he reached her side, the crowd cheered. Weeks passed. The Kioran Empire was forced to face itself. With Kior's failure, new voices rose. Young leaders, inspired by Syra, began pushing for reform. Not all agreed. Some still believed in the old ways. But the seed had been planted. A new era had begun. One night, under the stars, Syra and Eli sat by the same fire in the forest where it all began. Max rested between them, peaceful. Syra looked up at the sky. "I once thought stars were meant to be conquered." Eli replied, "Now what do you think?" "Now, I think they're meant to be shared." He smiled. "You're starting to sound human." She turned to him. "No, I'm starting to sound like myself." Before long, Syra was invited to speak at the Earth Intergalactic Conference, the first in human history. She stood on stage, in front of thousands. "I was created for war, but I chose peace, and if a monster like me can change, so can anyone." The crowd rose to their feet. Applause thundered. Not for a hero, but for a new beginning. Final scene. Eli recorded one last message, sitting by the fire with Max, while Syra adjusted a telescope beside him. "She came from the stars to destroy us, but instead she found a reason not to, and I found a reason to live again." Sometimes, monsters are just people who never had a chance to be anything else. Sometimes it takes a stranger to make us human again. He looked towards Syra, who smiled at him across the firelight. And in that moment, the galaxy was no longer divided into enemies and allies. Only people.